Greetings everybody, just a good USD JPY. Let's get into the chart. So one of the first things that I can already see in regards to this particular chart is that we have, or rather we had this very nice overextended W structure. It is an overextended W structure because this first leg is much lower than this second leg, and it has a neckline more or less at the zone. And you guys know by now that whenever we have W structures, you want to see price breaking to the upside of the W structure, coming back to the neckline to test it, and here at this particular point is where we would look for potential buying opportunities. So we can see that we saw price breaking to the upside of that neckline and then coming back to test it, right? So this tells us that at this point we should be preparing to buy more or less, right? Having said that, we would need for the confluence and confirmation for why we should be buying at this point over here, right? Anyway, let's proceed, guys. So what else do we see in regards to the monthly chart of USD JPY? I don't see much at this stage, guys, but like I said, right now what's happening is that a lot of potential buyers are actually waiting for the market to push further down to around this area, and at this area is where a lot of traders will be buying, right? That's for sure, right? So just keep that in the back of your mind. Another thing that is also very much interesting is that we have this candlestick over here. If you look at it, it is a bearish candlestick with a small body and quite a long lower wick, and it tells us that at the bottom where it ends, there's a lot of liquidity sitting at that point. And you guys by now know that liquidity represents money that needs to be triggered by the market in the future, right? So I'm just gonna mark that candlestick because it's very much important. Let's see, there we go, more or less at this level over here, right? There we go, there we go, there we go. So what else do we see, guys? What else do we see that we should be paying attention to? So another thing that I see that is also very much important is that we have another candlestick over here, which is very much similar to this one, in that it too is carrying a lot of liquidity at the bottom where it ends. I'm just gonna mark it as well. Just bear with me, guys. Let's see. There we go, more or less, right? We could say that those 2 points, as I said, are liquidity areas, and they need to be triggered by the market at some point or another, right? So what's likely to happen is that price may come back all the way to this level, not only to test this neckline of that overextended W structure, but also to grab these 2 liquidity points that I spoke about. Yeah, so let's proceed, guys. So what else do we see? At this point I don't see much, so what I'm gonna do is head down to the weekly chart. Just bear with me, guys. And here we are on the weekly chart. Sorry, the weekly chart is over here, rather. Let's see. So what do we see here, guys? Another thing that I see here is that we have another candlestick over here, which is very much similar to those 2 previous candlesticks that I spoke about that are carrying liquidity, right? So what we can see right now is that there is plenty of scope for the market to push further down, right? So we shouldn't be getting too excited in as far as looking for buying opportunities goes at this stage, because as I said, guys, we still need to see price come back to this level to test that neckline of that huge overextended W structure. In addition to that, we have those candlesticks, one over here, another one over here, and another one at that point, that are carrying all of that liquidity that needs to be triggered by the market. So at this point I wouldn't say you should get excited about buying. There is plenty of scope for the market to push further down to, as I said, grab all of those liquidity points at the bottom, and we might potentially see the market giving us a very nice W structure. Can you guys see that, right? So what I'm doing at this point is just speculating. I'm not saying necessarily that the market will unravel in the way in which I'm explaining. I'm just showing you what could potentially happen in regards to USD JPY, right? So what else do we see, guys? Another thing that I see on this particular chart is that we have this candlestick over here, which is a bullish candlestick with a small body and quite a long upper wick. So that particular candlestick as well is very much important, and it too is a liquidity candlestick, as I said, and it tells us that we have a lot of money sitting around this point, and that money in the future may be, grabbed by the market, right? Anyway, let's proceed, guys. At this point, what I'm gonna do is head down to the daily chart. So just bear with me. The first thing that I'm going to do, guys, in regards to the daily chart is to add my daily channel. So just bear with me, guys, while I do so. Let's see. I'm just gonna zoom in a bit. Let's see. Let me just zoom in a bit so I can get a better view of what's happening on the chart. There we go. We could say that this is the channel on the daily chart, right? So what do we see on the daily chart? Just to recap, guys, before we continue, I just want to remind you that on the monthly chart we had that overextended W structure, which had a neckline at that point, and price is just about in and around this area. But I said that we would love to see price push further down to test this area properly, as well as to grab all of those liquidity points and then only move further up. Just keep that in the back of your mind, right? So what do we see, guys, on this particular chart, which is the daily chart of USD JPY? On this chart, I see a lot of things going on. Number one, we can see that the market had given us a very nice overextended W structure at this point, which also has a neckline at that point, right? Can you guys see that? In fact, let me just add my neckline so that you guys can see it. Just bear with me. So we could say that more or less this is the neckline of, as I said, this overextended W structure, which has the first leg at this point and the second leg at that point, right? That's the first thing that I see in regards to the daily chart. Another thing that I see is that we have this channel over here, which has been broken at this point to the upside, right? Which is further confluence that we should be indeed be looking for potential buying opportunities. Another thing that confirms that we should be looking for potential buying opportunities is that the neckline, which is over here, of this overextended W formation has been broken to the top side, right? We saw price breaking to the upside of that neckline, coming back to the neckline to test it, and at this point is where we saw the market push further up, right, guys? So what else do we see, guys? What else do we see in regards to the daily chart? So what I'm saying, in other words, is that based on what we're seeing on the daily chart, right, we should be looking for potential buying opportunities. Having said all that, guys, just keep in mind that I spoke about all of those liquidity points at the bottom, right, on the bigger time frames, and I said that there is plenty of scope for the market to push further down to grab all of those points. So myself personally, at this point, I would not be looking for potential buying opportunities, even though based on the daily chart we can see that clearly we should be looking for potential buying opportunities, right? So what I'm saying, in other words, is that this could be a trap. This whole move over here could be a trap, right? Because if you think about it, right, we have, as I said, this W structure, and you guys know by now that whenever it comes to W structures, a lot of traders and investors usually buy on the second leg of that W structure, and they place their stop losses just below, right? So what this means is that we have some stop losses that are sitting in and around that area, guys. So remember, on the bigger time frames, as I said, we spoke about those liquidity candlesticks that are carrying liquidity, and now we also have this additional W structure which has stop losses at this point, right? So this tells us, in conclusion, guys, that there's a lot of money sitting in and around this area in the form of stop losses, as well as those liquidity candlesticks that are carrying all of that money, right? So it may be that this whole move over here is a trap. You might see the market actually push further down to grab all of that money that's sitting at this point, right? Another reason that supports this theory is that if you look at this level over here, we can see that price is at a very strong level of resistance, right? Let me just actually mark that zone so that you guys can see clearly. Just bear with me. So we can say more or less that this whole area over here is a very strong level of resistance. Why do I say so? That is because we've had multiple rejections at that point, as you guys can see, right? We've had multiple rejections at that point, and we might potentially see the market push further down to around this level to retest this neckline of this W structure, and we might again see the market push maybe further up to around this level again, and at this level we might then see price push further down to grab all of those stop losses in addition to those liquidity candlesticks, right? In which case the market would then give us a very nice M structure. Can you guys see that? The market would give us a very nice M structure. So guys, as I said, at this point all I'm doing is just speculating. I'm not necessarily saying that the market will unravel in this manner. I'm just showing you what could potentially happen. And as I said, guys, based on this W structure, right, and this neckline being broken to the upside, ideally we want to see the market push further up, but there's a lot of money sitting in and around this area for me to be buying, right? I first want to see actually the market move further down, as I said, to grab all of this money, and then we might get a very nice W structure. Can you guys see that? We might get a very nice W structure. So just keep that in the back of your mind, that there's a lot of money sitting in and around that area, right? And just to continue, guys, remember I said that the market right now is testing this very strong level of resistance, and we might see the market push further down to at least this level, and then again perhaps push even further down to around this level, right? So what else do we see, guys, in regards to the daily chart of USD JPY? At this point I don't see much, so what I'm gonna do is head down to the H4 chart. Here we are on the H4 chart. Let's have a look. Right, and just to recap, guys, on the H4 chart, remember we spoke about how we have this overextended W structure which has a neckline at that point, and we said that the price broke to the upside of that neckline, came back to the neckline to test it, and at this point is where we would have looked for potential buying opportunities. In addition to that, we also spoke about how price currently is at a very strong level of resistance, right? And we might potentially see the market push further down from where it is, right? So just keep that in the back of your mind, guys. So here we are on the H4 chart. What do we see on the H4 chart that we should be looking at, guys? In fact, before we proceed, I want to start off by adding my H4 channel, so just bear with me, guys, while I do so. Let's see. I would add my H4 channel more or less in this manner. Just bear with me, guys. Let's see. There we go. So what do we see, guys, in regards to the H4 chart of USD JPY, right? Remember, guys, as much as we have this W structure over here which has a neckline at that point, let me just zoom in a bit. We also have, or rather we had also had another W structure over here which similarly had a neckline at that point. We saw price breaking to the upside of that neckline, coming back to the neckline, and then pushing further up, which means we would have looked for potential buying opportunities again at that point, right? Another thing that I see that is also very much interesting, guys, is that, remember I said to you guys that we have this level over here which is a very strong level of resistance, as we've had multiple rejections. We also have what seems to be a very nice M structure for me, which has a neckline at that point, right? So should price close below this neckline, right, chances are we might see the market push further down to around this level over here, which is where we have the neckline of this W structure. And as I said, guys, we might potentially also see the market push further down to around this level, which is the neckline of that bigger W structure that I spoke about, right? But ideally, myself personally, I would love to see price push further down to those areas at the bottom that I spoke about, right? Having said all this, guys, in order for us to sell, I believe that we need to wait for the market to actually close below this neckline over here. This neckline over here, which is the neckline, as I said, guys, of this very nice M structure. Should price close below this level, we would then wait for the market to head back to the neckline to test it, and at this point is where I would sell. And ideally, I would love to see the market push down, right? But just keep in mind that I also spoke about this smaller W structure, which also has a neckline at that point, and that neckline would now act as a very strong level of support. I'm just going to add that neckline as well over here, more or less, right? I'm just hoping that at this point all of these lines of mine are not confusing, right? So don't confuse this smaller W structure, right, with this bigger W structure over here, right? And just don't confuse this structure over here with that other big overextended W structure that we have on the monthly chart, right? I just hope my analysis makes sense. So in conclusion, myself personally, I would love to see price break below the neckline, and if it does so, chances are that the market will at least move to around this level, right? However, after the market breaks below that neckline, I would love to see it go back to the neckline to test it, and at this point is where I would look for potential selling opportunities, and chances are, as I said, that the market will push to this level, right? But ideally, I would love to see price from where it is push all the way down to the lower levels, right? So that is it, guys, as far as my analysis goes of USD JPY. I hope it makes sense, and peace out.